So the Sui Lalo Attack Strategy at Tunnelton. How can you guys use this, and how can you guys really take advantage of different base designs? Well, in this guide, I'm going to teach you all of this. Now, there's a lot of different things to go over. How can you get value? How can you get the queen? How do you deal with the CC, etc.? How do you do your Lavaloon portion? So there is a lot. Now, in terms of this, let's go ahead and take a look at this base design as an example. One of the first things that you need to take a look at is where the air defenses are placed, where is the queen placed, and where's the CC. If we notice on this base design, we notice that each of these air defenses are kind of in this shape here. So obviously they are definitely a lot more spread apart. Now the other thing is, if we take a look at where the multi-infernos are, they are definitely going to be a little bit more adjacent. The easiest one to get is definitely going to be towards that 11 o'clock side. Now, another thing to take a look at is the CC and queen. They are in the center of the base. However, the queen is actually near this air defense. Now, she is being protected by the bomb tower and the wizard tower. However, we can take those out with the Lavaloon portion, especially as we drive in this way. But we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later on. That's where we're going to be talking about the rage and the skelly spell. Now, in terms of this, you already notice here from this one is there is only a level 1. So there you can use this with a level 1 skelly spell. However, you may want to upgrade it as well to get even more skeletons. But in this example, it shows that it does not matter what level you have. As long as you have your rage and your skelly, you should be good. Now, with this attack, what you want to try and do is make sure to get as much value as possible. So looking at this compartment here, this offers us great value. We can get the multi-inferno, air defense, wizard tower, and archer tower just for the housing space of the wall breakers. Yes, you are bringing wall breakers, and also having the queen going in. Why not the king? Well, the king's main job is to set the funnel for the queen. So you want him to set the funnel, and also the baby dragon to set the funnel, so that then she can move into the base, freezing up the multi-inferno, and then using the wall breakers in order to break her in, so then she could take that out. Now, one last thing before we actually move on, you'll notice that the CC is centralized. The only thing is, the queen can only target in here. And without all these other buildings being taken out, that means that she will move on to the outside. So instead of moving on to the inside, if those buildings were taken out, she's going to move outside since they weren't. Which means that you will not be able to lure out the CC. This is where you're going to have a plan A and a plan B. So plan A is luring out the CC, plain and simple. However, plan B is where, you bring in a electro dragon in the stone slammer. Maybe you bring a dragon in the stone slammer. But just make sure as well that you're bringing a poison spell to deal with, or at least weaken, the CC. So whether it's a baby dragon or it's a swarm CC, aka like archers or witches, or even Valkyries if the queen already lures them out. But obviously you won't have to worry about Valkyries, except if you're using skelly spells, obviously. Now, in terms of different base designs, like here, again, you'll see that setting the funnel is really huge. Now, another thing to also quickly notice is this little compartment here. There is an L-shaped dead zone. That's what you call a dead zone there. This is actually going to give us very easy pathing when we start the Lavaloon, and I'll kind of explain why. And if we take a look at, there are 2 of them, so we'll kind of talk about that a little bit later. But obviously, if you can tell right here, the queen gets a lot of value from breaking in. You saw the freeze going in and then the wall breakers. Remember to use a test wall breaker though as well, since you don't want the wall breakers to fail, especially in an attack like this. Now, before we actually continue on with the Lavaloon portion, I want to show you guys the number of loons down at the bottom of your screen in order to really understand how you guys can do your Lavaloon. If we take a look at this here, we notice that the loons go over to the Teslas and then they'll move over to the Expos. They are going to need a few more. So just knowing that little bottom portion there will really help you guys understand. And remember to use at least 1 or 2 of your haste spells to get your loons straight in. And you can see that the hounds go in different areas. You are bringing 3, mind you. And you also want to use, just like right here with the Skelly spells, you want to make sure that she's staying put where she is, so that then you can clean up that queen with the Skelly spells or even the lava pup if it helps. Now, another thing to really keep in mind as well is the use of the Stone Slammer. If you want to use the Stone Slammer on the back end, feel free. It's a great way, especially if you know that you are going to be running thin on loons. So that could mean where you might actually have to either use the Stone Slammer on the back end or send it with your attack. If we notice from here is that there were still 2 Lava Hounds up, and that kind of offered great tankage for those loons and also enough cleanup for the rest of the base, including the queen. So obviously there's a lot of different things. Now, in terms of the dead zones, and I did want to mention these, it makes a Lalo easier, especially if you got rid of this area here. That meant that the Lavaloon portion just had to go like this instead of, going in kind of like this or whatnot. So definitely dealing with easy pathing is the idea and the main focus with an attack like this. So now let's go ahead and take a look at another example with this attack strategy. So on this base design right here, we can obviously tell that the CC is going to be yet again unlurable. Specifically because even though this does look tempting right here, you don't know if there could be some Teslas there that could really hinder your entry to lure out the CC. And again, this is not a damage CC. This is a Lalo CC. So obviously, you may or may not want to bring a Electro Dragon or Baby Dragon. However, if we take a look at how we want to enter into the base, you'll notice that we're not using any wall breakers. But the only reason is, well, I mean, just take a look at the base design. Do we really need it? Especially if there's a little entry point here. We can actually get rid of the air defense. We can get rid of the wizard tower. We can get rid of the archer towers here. That just offers us really good value. And plus, we can possibly even get rid of this bomb tower from the outside, especially since we have this area here. However, we would have then been able to lure out the CC. So that is sort of the idea. If you see a Lava Hound CC, the goal is to not lure it. But other than that, you may actually want to lure out the CC in order to deal with it. So from this example, we have the king and queen going through, the king funneling here, so then the queen could go through here and get the air defense and wizard tower. That's still huge, even if you don't get another multi-inferno. But what that means is that you want to charge into that first multi-inferno and possibly heal over the second, since you will have weakened loons. But not only this, let's also take a look at where those air defenses are placed in this example. If we take a look, there's one right here that is going to be taken out, but the other 3 are in a line. And considering this, we also want to take advantage of where those air defenses are placed. So for instance, this one is placed near a multi-inferno and wizard tower. That means that the hound will be taking for 1 beam of the multi and also the archer tower and wizard tower. Actually 2 archer towers and possibly even a Tesla. However, that probably won't happen. So you can see from this example that the king is funneling his way down this way while the queen is moving her way here. Now, you could have actually dealt with the queen like this. However, that's not going to happen, since obviously there was a Lava Hound CC that would have been protecting that queen. Now again, sending in the Stone Slammer, this would be a beautiful time to actually use an Electro Dragon or even a dragon in that CC to actually deal with the queen. So that's sort of the idea with this. So definitely with that, you really want to try and take advantage of different ways of doing this. And from here, you saw that a freeze and the Skelly spell were being used instead of a rage and Skelly. That's going to be really up to you, but you should be able to take out the queen rather quickly. Now, if you know that there are going to be some Skellies on the base, then you may want to bring the poison. Treat it as a Skelly trap from the ground. So definitely bringing a poison to deal with either the CC or that is actually a great way of, dealing with the Skellies that could be harassing all of your balloons. That could really either cause you a time fail or that could just make you straight up fail. So you really want to try and make sure to think about that. And if we notice again, the heal spell was being used specifically over those loons in order to heal them up through in full. So let's go ahead and take a look at another example, our last example with this attack strategy. So in this last example that we have here for you guys, the biggest thing with the Sui Lalo is to understand how you guys can deal with different CCs, how you guys can deal with different modes of Infernos as well. So one of the biggest things in terms of this is you may say, how do I deal with single targets? Now this may not be both single and it may not be both single. However, this is one single, one multi. We notice that the single target Inferno is in this area here while the multi is over here. The other thing that's really important is notice how the single target Inferno is not covering any air defenses, because all the air defenses are actually right here. This means that we have to kind of adapt to this. So what other value can we get? Well, from here, we can actually get these structures here. This can offer us really good value. 2 wizard towers and an archer tower is huge, because what it will allow us to do is when we're going around counterclockwise with the Lavaloon, we can then finish off with the single Inferno as we move through. So that's just something really to keep an eye out on when you guys are using the Sui Lalo. Another thing to note is in terms of starting that Lavaloon, we obviously can tell where the queen is placed. We have a Skelly spell, so we kind of want to take care of the splash building so that then we can take care of the queen rather quickly. Another thing to consider is notice where all these air defenses are. This is going to be huge, specifically, these 3. And the main reason I'm saying this is because if we take a look at this first one here, notice that I would say about 2 expos are covering that, meaning that we can take out this bomb tower really easy, and we don't need to worry about any of the expos except for this one to really be a nuisance on the Skelly spell. Now, I know I will be asked before, especially in the comments, how do I deal with non-tank CCs? And I mentioned this before, bring an Electro Dragon or bring a Dragon in the CC and bring a Poison. You can notice that in this one, there is a max Skelly. I showed you in previous examples, it works without it having it maxed. So it's specifically, you can actually use either a max Skelly spell or your Skelly spell in order to get some sort of value from the base. Now again, you want to either bring a max poison or your own poison. It's going to really be up to you. A freeze is not that bad, especially against single target Infernos. Here's the reason why. Single target Infernos are something that is definitely really dangerous to a Sui hero, especially to the queen. You really want to try and make sure to get as much value from the queen. Another thing is that the freeze can be used for is to protect the wall wrecker, the stone slammer as much as possible. This is going to help you a ton in terms of using this attack. As we can see from this example, notice that the expos are being tanked for, only leaving that queen still alive, meaning that she can be taken out rather quickly with the Skelly spell or something like that. And you notice that the Skelly spell, she moved over slightly when that Skelly spell was placed. Got to be patient, but she was still taken out by the lava pups. So sometimes you're going to get really lucky there, but that's sort of something that you guys got to really play around with. You got to adapt in the base. You got to have that plan B. You can see from here a heal spell being used. Heal spells should most of the time be used with the Lavaloon. I wouldn't say all the time, but I would say a good chunk of the time, use it. It's a huge way of actually getting a lot of value and keeping your balloons alive, especially charging into a multi-inferno. That is huge. And you could also notice from here is that he saved up a haste, specifically because he knew he still had a wizard tower, single inferno, Tesla, right in that back end of the base. And you don't know where any of those traps could be, so 100% getting your troops quickly up to those defenses to take them out is huge. You don't want that single target inferno to roast every single one of your balloons and then you failing because of it. So definitely save your haste if you need it. So that, guys, is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you guys did, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you guys don't miss anything. Let me know in the comments below if you guys want to see something a little bit more keen on base identification, and I want to bring it to you guys. I am definitely more than willing to showcase more base identification and maybe even create a whole guide on it, or even a series on it, just like the Identify That Base series. So please let me know in the comments below. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Also, feel free to join the Exit Humanity family, and feel free to also go ahead and join my community Discord server. It is quite small. And also follow me on Twitter at CorruptYT. With that being said, that's going to do it, guys, for the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys next time. Corrupt, signing out.